to launch your creativity. This is the third installment in the Inspiration Delivered series, and today I'm going to talk to you about presentation, perception, and packaging. This is a super fun topic to take apart and to start building your brand or your personal identity. So I want to give you some nerd information first. The human brain, in 2 seconds of meeting someone or being presented with something, starts evaluating and making a decision whether it likes it or not, is interested or not, and within 90 seconds the deal is sealed. So you don't have a very big window of time to work in to sell yourself or your product. So I'm going to refer back to that a little bit later, but let's start moving into presenting yourself. First of all, you need to define who you are, really. Who you are, really. Okay, you cannot say, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a sister. None of those kind of things. Those are relational roles that you play, and they don't define who you are. So get out your journal, and on one of the pages, I want you to give yourself 3 columns. And the first column is your core values. I want you to make a list of all your core values, all the things that matter the most to you. In your second column, all of your passions. Everything that you're passionate about. It does not have to be a business passion. It could be gardening. It could be teaching kids to read. It could just be anything that, when you wake up and you hit the ground, the first thing that you think of is getting to work on that project. That is a passion. It's not when you get up and you're like, oh, I've got to go do this thing. I kind of like this thing. I kind of like the people, but really not so much. This is getting old. Don't put that on your list. Don't let that slip in. All of us have those things. And sometimes we can have something that we started off maybe being passionate about, but then it's not so much. And it can kind of hang around because we haven't learned how to say no to it yet. So make sure that doesn't get on this list, because that's going to kind of interrupt your thought process of being focused on what you really are super excited about. So, and I wish somebody would have told me that 40 years ago, but nobody did, and I had to learn the hard way and learn how to say no to things. It's really hard. The third list is going to be your talents. Everything that comes naturally to you, whether it's music or it's a medium of art or expressing yourself through literature or poetry. And it could be anything. That could even go back into a teaching ability. So you may end up being a teacher of some sort, children or adults. There's just so many things you can do. I want you to spend a lot of time on this particular exercise, because what you're going to walk away with there is a picture of your life's work, what you were meant to do. It's your essence. And it's not just something that you're going to relate to your business or to your creativity. It is the imprint that you're going to leave on people around you, on your family, and it's your legacy. So when you're gone, it's going to be how people remembered you, what you were passionate about, and what you pursued, and what you valued. Those are really important things. So give yourself a lot of time to work on it, and it may be a work in progress. You may have some things in there that you end up going back and crossing off and adding more things, but give yourself plenty of time. Rolling that into perception. So let's say you've got that done. Maybe you've already got a product or a service, and you've already put it out there. If you have, you've probably had some response and some criticisms coming back to you. That is the perception of what people think about you or your product. What you want is, what do you want them to think about it? So when you're presenting this item, you want it presented to create excitement, enthusiasm, interest. That is the whole what you want them to think about it. And that is really, really tricky. So here's another exercise I want you to do. Go to the mall or go to an amusement park and sit down with a cup of coffee and watch people. And this is why. This goes back to the nerd information of how fast you process whether you like something or you don't. You see people. and you start categorizing them. It's human nature to people watch and observe behavior. But as you're categorizing them, you're putting them in these boxes. This guy goes in box A and that girl goes in box B, and oh, look at that nutcase, she's going in box C, right? We all do that. Okay, now let's say you got to know the nutcase in box C. She moves in next door, and you find out she's really, really nice. And she's an amazing baker. She brings you and your kids fresh baked cookies every week. Okay, wow. How often has that happened? That you met somebody, you sized them up really quick, and maybe you did not think that you liked them and you got to know them and they're amazing. Or even worse, what if you got to know somebody that you thought was just fabulous and they're truly crazy? Okay, we'll talk about that more. How about next week? Because I do have some thoughts on that, because you do need to guard yourself. I'll tell you a true life story. But anyway, that goes into the whole perception. When you're creating a product and you're presenting a service, it has to be really clear. People need to see it and be confident in the purchase that they're making. They need to understand who you are and your whole value system behind that product. Buying things from a person is very personal. So if you're at a trade show, that's where it gets very personal. I will not buy something from a person I do not like. I seriously will leave and go find it somewhere else. It's very hard for you to be on your best all the time, especially at a trade show when you've been standing there for 10 or 12 hours. Trade show food is horrible, and you're living on McDonald's coffee, and it's ugly. You can't sleep in the hotel. It's like that whole thing. But you know you got to get through it. You've got to be on your best. My advice to you is to practice at home how to present yourself and having some well thought answers to what you think are going to be key and frequent questions. Because if you can't have those things rolling off your tongue when you're either at a trade show or you're networking somewhere, someone is going to think that you're not on top of your game or that you don't really know what you're talking about. So those are really important things to practice. Another thing when you're going to present yourself, go spend a little time in the bathroom primping. I swear, and I know it sounds so silly, but it's true. You put on your favorite lipstick, put on a little perfume, because if you feel like you've got your look together, you're going to carry yourself a little bit taller. And I had heard that a while ago. I didn't do it because I thought it sounded a little arrogant. I thought, really, go primp yourself up? But it's true, because if you feel good about yourself, you will carry that air with you. So it really helps. Before you hit the door of that event, wherever you're going to be speaking and networking, I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to tell yourself that you're going to walk in there and you're going to own it. And you might have to do that a few times. And throughout that evening, if you talk to one person that's just just doesn't get it or whatever, move on. Don't let that squash you. You just keep saying, I'm going to own this. I'm owning my brand. I know who I am, okay? You know who you are at this point because you've done your homework. So let's move back into packaging. Now this is super fun. You get to play dress up with your product. Is your product whimsical or glamorous or sporty or elegant or sleek? Start thinking about all those keywords. What's going to determine your product? Because when I think of sleek, I always think of luxury cars. When I think of glamorous, I'm thinking of like the perfume ads that I see in magazines. So start looking through magazines at ads and notice, what colors do they use? What keywords do they use to define that product? What elements are in the picture to define the product? Perfume is always glamour or a girl in a gorgeous gown out in nature. I think Estee Lauder uses that almost like a trademark. It's always a beautiful girl in a field of flowers, and it's very appealing to the mood of that particular product. So pay attention to that, and then those colors. The color needs to tell a story as well about your product, which goes right into that packaging. If it's a soft product or it's a glamorous product, it's a sporty product, the color needs to reflect that. So another thing about packaging is when you're branding yourself, you need to have a logo. Now this is my logo, and it was designed by Avalon Rose Designs, and you can find her on the web. Catherine over there is excellent. She has saved my butt numerous times. I can't even tell you. She's fast, she's reliable, and she's really, really reasonable with her rates. She does hang tags, she does digital and print ads, she does web design also. Get your logo. It goes on every single thing. It's on your goods that you sell. It's on your website. It's on your blog. It's on your business card. It can go on your bags, just everywhere. Stick it on your dog, you know, glue it to your kids when they go out. Because what happens is product identity. The more they keep seeing your logo or your name, they will remember it. It's gonna become familiar to them. Just like we talked about Coke. You see Coke, you know right away what it is. It's product identity. And it's so important to do this. Hire a professional. I didn't even know that I needed to do that when I started off. And I had the ugliest logo. It's so embarrassing I won't even show it to you. But you know, you don't know what you don't know. So anyways, girls, I want you to just keep moving forward with, this is the third step, and you're gonna get to the end game pretty soon, and you're going to be ready to play. So go back, go through your values, your passions, your talents, decide who you are. And if you can't decide who you are, maybe you have a dream of what you want to be. You can write down what you want to be. It could be a passion. And if you're willing to put in the work and the hours, you're going to get there. I know you are. I have no doubts that if you will work for it, it will happen for you. Okay, girls, next week we're going to talk about some random things that I think you should know. There's really no theme. It's just going to be some tidbits and some stories of crazy things that have happened to me and lessons learned. Okay, so have a great day, and I will see you then, and be creative and stay inspired.